Thank you for staying with us here on SA Today. Now, Minister of Electricity and Energy, Dr. Kgosietsho Ramokgopa, has announced 7 pre-qualified bidders under the first phase of the Independent Transmission Projects Procurement Project. And these are private sector companies that will now help in building of 14,000 kilometers of transmission lines. Now, this is a 440 billion rand 10-year program that will see a public-private participation. SABC News' economics reporter Katlego Legodi has that story.
The plan remains for South Africa to build about 14,000 of that kilometer of transmission lines at least by 2034. We see the Electricity and Energy Minister, Dr. Kgosietsho Ramokgopa, taking us into confidence in terms of the process that has been underway in ensuring that there's a diversified approach to this particular process. Today we see him announcing at least 7 of those pre-qualified bidders that will now move into the next phase as per the plans, where the department is concerned in ensuring at least that there is a private sector participation in stabilizing the country's grid. I'm going to bring into the conversation now the minister to really just give us a sense of where we find ourselves. Today you were also announcing the bid window 7 in terms of how that process has been going, and the ball has been rolling really in ensuring that at least this process really meets the targets and the timelines set out by the department. But we're seeing the 7 bidders announced today. Maybe take us into this particular process and what follows from here.
Oh yes, thanks, Katlego. I think the first part was to make the point that we have concluded the renegotiations on bid window number 7. So we are confident that we have reached an agreement rather with the bidders will add another 890 megawatts. So that the negotiations have been concluded. But we're also announcing that just the period of December alone this month, we have added onto the grid now an additional 800 megawatts. That's important because we want to ensure that there's energy security. You don't run into a future problem of load shedding. Commit the same errors as before when the powers that be were advised about the possibility of an energy deficit if particular action is not taken, and that was not taken to heart, and then we experienced load shedding. Of course, there's other factors that contributed to that. So to avert that situation, part of the announcement today was to say that we are having private sector investment in capacity expansion of our grid. We want to modernize and expand it, as we say, by about 14,000 kilometers. We need 440 billion rand to do exactly that. The fiscus is not in a position to carry that. There's been a deterioration of the fiscal matrix, but we have introduced an innovative instrument called the Credit Guarantee Vehicle, which is a backstop to protect the investments of the private sector to ensure that the program is able to thrive. It's the initial phase. We're building 1,164 kilometers. It's 17 billion rand. That's the size of the ticket. We'll get an additional 3,400 megawatts as a result of this action, and then we'll announce other programs going to the future. But also key, it's about the localization of the components that are going to underpin this expansion, because we're not just about the electrons, the megawatts. It's also about the economic situation in the country. So addressing an economic, we are resolving an economic question using the lens of energy and electricity. And that's why we are building into this solution the issues of local participation, ownership, shareholding, and most importantly, industrialization. And that's how we're going to get the economy going.
Let's talk about these 7 companies. We saw you making an announcement that the interest largely has been from international investors that will be looking into playing around this space. Maybe clarify that because there's been a lot of work that you've been doing as well with Eskom and the National Transmission Company of South Africa.
So you want to get to a stage where the majority of the participants in their own right are South Africans. So they don't participate in the program on the back or behind the other international players. So we're accepting that there has not been enough space that has been created for the maturity of the South African industry. So as a start, because we're at the nascent stages, we have seen that there's an incredible appetite from international players. And it also has to do with the strict pre-qualification requirements that we placed in there. Is the size of your financial muscle. It also has to do with the expertise that you have built over time to build a program, to participate in a program of this nature. And because in the country, it's Eskom that has been doing this on their own. You have not built sufficient industry to competently respond or meet these requirements. So we're going to use the first 2-3 phases of this to build that local capacity. And I'm confident that come the fourth round of the bid round, the fourth bidding round, we are likely going to see the emergence of South African players that are not coming in as a 49% shareholder, but they come in as 100% owners of this program, and will galvanize behind them our DFIs to look at them favorably, to support their financial muscle so that we're able to build this. So what is the point I'm making? Is that this thing is scalable, so it must be incremental steps. Let's get it right first and continue to perfect it going forward. I think our sickness, the cancer in the country, is that we are looking for a perfect solution, and we never start. And we theorize, discuss about what the perfect solution is until we lose the opportunity. So we're not going to lose the opportunity. We're going to start with all its imperfection and get to purify it and clean it as we move forward, so that we're able to build a South African industry on the back of this build program.
And just briefly before we let you go, those that are watching us at home, most of them are just wondering as to what becomes the buy-in for the locals and those that would really be looking to benefit from this. When can we expect for the first project, for instance, to hit the ground?
Oh, you're absolutely correct. So we can make an announcement, but the rubber should hit the road, and that's when the benefits will come. So we said the third quarter of next year, we have made the preferred bidder, and then they must hit the ground running. We have cleared the way. Because all the, what we call the permitting and licensing requirement, EIA, water use license, you mentioned them, all of those are in place. So theoretically, they can start the following day after the announcement. So the quarter of next year, then you are going to see work on the ground, full participation of South Africans. But going forward, the next round will be coming with a greater levels of speed. We are going to reduce the cadence. We are going to be coming out in the general public quicker than we have done now, because this is the first phase. We'll perfect it, and the opportunities will flow to our people.
Minister, everything of the best. Thank you very much for joining us on the SABC. The Electricity and Energy Minister, Dr. Kgosietsho Ramokgopa, saying that they're really looking at ensuring that there's greater buy-in, even from locals, but saying that at least by the third quarter of next year, we'll start to see the work on the ground and looking at jobs that would be created by at least the creation of these 14,000 kilometers of transmission lines. I'm Katlego, Legodi for SABC News in Pretoria.